Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. I'm happy to welcome you to this insightful discussion about how you can make the ultimate comeback for profitable airport parking management. My name is Cassandra, and I'm the marketing specialist here at Precise ParkLink. I'm happy to be here with you today as your moderator. Joining me today is Adamo Donatucci, Business Development and Strategy Officer, and Andrew Scorlon, Technical Sales Manager here at Precise ParkLink. And finally, also here with us today is guest speaker Laura McNeese, CEO of the Airport Management Council of Ontario. AMCO's vision is to lead Ontario's airports and aerodromes to be the safest and most efficient in the world. There are a few things I would like to mention before we get started. We will be accepting questions in the chat that we will be addressing during our Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So be sure to enter your question as well as who you are addressing it to in the chat. So on the agenda for today, we will be starting off with a key Canadian airport market update. Then we will be discussing how you can leverage innovative technology to enhance traditional parking management services. Then we'll be discussing increasing recurring revenue with the right employee permit management models, as well as the ins and outs of providing digital customer service for optimal performance. Then we'll be discussing premium hardware solutions that need to be on your upgrade list, putting a lucrative spin on all marketing endeavors, and then how you can go the extra mile with last mile service solutions, as well as KPI analytics and BI to prioritize profitable parking performance. And then we'll be finishing the webinar with a live Q&A. And if you enjoyed the webinar, we encourage you to leave us a Google star rating by scanning this QR code for your chance to win our prize draw. The winner will be announced on Precise ParkLink's LinkedIn page within the coming days, so stay tuned. I will pass it on to Laura to take it from here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I will start with my Canadian market update. So COVID-19 brought about many changes to Canada's airports, particularly the loss of passengers and revenue. It was typical that 75 to 90% and even 100% reductions in passenger service were seen at regional airports. In most cases, revenues were also reduced by these levels. However, as an essential service, there was no option to cease operating. Airports provide life-saving services such as medevacs and cargo transport for items such as vaccines. The cost of operations actually increased due to higher health and safety standards. Traditionally, an airport's revenue has been very heavily tied to passenger use. While the return of passengers looked promising near the end of 2021, the Omicron variant has once again decimated passenger traffic. The industry is hopeful for a return of passengers this year, with a return to 2019 levels not projected to happen for several years. Therefore, there must be a shift in revenue generation. Increased non-passenger revenues and higher revenue per passenger are key to a resilient airport system. Throughout the pandemic, technology has been implemented to ensure more touchless and socially distanced experience for passengers. From virtual security lines to the use of biometrics for a touchless boarding process, new technology has helped to create healthy and safe airports. Installation of vending machines for face masks was found to be a source of income for airports during this time. Non-passenger driven revenue generation is one important area to ensure stable income in times of downturns in travel. Creative solutions can be found to fit any size airport. Examples include Pearson's Christmas Wonderland in an unused parking lot, or movie production, which has occurred at several of Ontario's airports. Airports of any size can also consider directly providing services such as ground handling and fueling. Being in control of the many services at your airport will bring in the most revenue. Airports have begun to work with the technology companies to create solutions for their own specific needs. These new technologies can be deployed at airports across the country. With a revenue share contract in place, this will be a stream of income to an airport not based on passengers. Creating a seamless and passenger-friendly experience is the future of airports. At the heart of this is digitization of the passenger experience. Using smart data solutions will help airports to increase revenue. These solutions can be implemented at both large and small airports. By capturing the passengers' information, airports can target their advertising and create custom packages that encourages a higher spend rate. A custom package could include pre-purchasing parking and a meal at an overall discounted rate, but may actually increase revenue for the airport if the customer may otherwise not have chosen to park or eat at the airport. By knowing your parking audience, airports will be able to assess the needs for parking accessories, such as electric charging facilities. They will also be able to identify the time of day when parking lots are at or near capacity and which parking spaces are taken first, and then be able to charge a premium during peak times or for highly desirable spots. Tracking passengers can help identify bottlenecks in the system and can work to become a more efficient, passenger-friendly airport. When passengers have a better, faster experience, they have time and patience to spend money on concessions. This information can also help to identify missed revenue opportunities. For example, if a person dwells at a coffee shop but moves on without purchasing, it can be determined that perhaps the line was too long and additional staffing is required. Passenger airport flow can also determine where people dwell and at what time, and airports can charge a premium for advertising in that space. Having a personal profile of guests can also be useful to small airports and aerodromes who may not have concessions on site. By partnering with local attractions, retail and hospitality ads can be personally targeted to each person moving through the terminal. By ensuring the ads are specific, it will increase the ad click rate and thus generate more revenue for the airport and for the local economy. It is this type of shift in thinking that airports are using to recover lost passenger revenue for the last 2 years. Technology will remain critical to recovery and the future development of the aviation industry. The industry is going through a transformation as it begins to emerge from the pandemic, and the technological shift has been expedited in its wake. So, whether large or small, airports can use technology and creative thinking to increase their revenues and remain sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for that great overview. And I love the point about technology and management making the shift. And it's a great shift for me to talk about management and typical parking management in the airports and how we kind of said it's now redefined. So for airports of all sizes, we really did a shift in what we're doing. Traditionally, in parking management, especially with airports, it's always been staff intensive or staff heavy. So really you had services being completed by staff, whether it's parking enforcement, marketing services, customer service assistants, people in the booth, in the kiosk, permit management. Someone has to be in that kiosk or in that office with the application form, payment form, and obviously executing that transaction for a permit for your employees. Reporting, obviously with BI technology, it's much more intuitive now, but traditionally we still have people with Excel and sending these reports done on email. Obviously on-site parking attendants, and of course, there's always going to be the valet and shuttle services, which does require the staffing. But there's been a shift, and what really clients of ours have been asking us for the last couple of years is we've had to pivot. There's people who, of course, had to be home because of restrictions or because they're isolating. So people really had to shift and say, well, I still have to deliver these services, but I don't have staff on site. So precise, what can you do? So we have the mentality of always thinking of people used to feel technology, but today it's the other way around, as Laura, as you had mentioned. And really it's about cost efficiency, accuracy, and growth. And for us, there's really 4 verticals that we're really concentrating on when it comes to that efficiency and that pivot from the traditional parking management system. And we refer to it as anywhere, anytime, something that's very important. The ability to integrate technology into your infrastructure and really manage anywhere, anytime. Let's start off with the hardware. Now, I won't go into too much detail because Andrew has a great presentation on this, but your traditional hardware, your gated systems and your non-gated systems, how intuitive are they? Do you have parking guidance? Are you able to accept mobile apps, making it more frictionless and accessible? And really, how's that digital technical support help you now with this new tradition and this new segue to technology? Another vertical is your customer service. In the past and currently today, you've got information kiosks. Maybe you can press the intercom at one of your entry or exit gates. But now what are we looking at? We're looking at remote monitoring. We're really looking at digital customer service, the ability to access help through a phone, through a scan of a QR code and get a live agent one-on-one. And intuitive responses. We've always been very reactive. Someone stuck at a gate, you react. Someone can't find a parking stall, you react. Well, how do we get more intuitive? How do we get more proactive? And again, we talk about the permit management, how you go from a manual process to a more online process, which we'll talk a little bit more about. Third point is kind of self-management. So what we mean by that, again, people had to pivot during the last couple of years. The staff there wasn't available. Managers had to take on more of the administration role. Well, when you're self-managing, what tools do you have to make yourself much more viable to do so? Well, business intelligence platforms is a big key that people have been talking about over the years. It gives you a view of your revenues, of your occupancy, of really the entire parking operation on a dashboard. Financial reporting, you really want to understand the peaks and valleys of where your parking revenue is coming from, whether it's transient, reservation, valet, or your typical monthly permits. And then your live system monitoring. Really, who's got the eyes on your parking facility? People can't be 24/7 at the exact same spot waiting for something to happen. What is it that we have today that make that more intuitive, that live system monitoring? And the fourth vertical is a really interesting one, is where you start bringing creative marketing on it. And you touched upon this on a few points on there, Laura. One is your digital marketing. How do you incorporate digital marketing into your infrastructure when it comes to selling parking or reservations? Loyalty programs have always been a key element on operations, on parking, on airports. How do you integrate that now that you have these digital applications to do so? Advertising becoming very popular. Digital signboards are becoming very popular. Now people offer advertising capabilities on those signboards or on your tickets or through the back end through your digital platform. And again, as you mentioned, your last mile services, which we'll touch upon a little bit more after that. One of the focus our clients really asked us from the last couple of years, especially in the last 6 months or 12 months with COVID, is increasing your recurring revenue. And what we're talking about are your staff parking. So your monthly permits, where they pay a monthly fee to have access to a gate or a hang tag or auditing with their license plate. And one of the reasons for this is because it's such a substantial part of your revenue at the parking garage. Normally, this is done, as we said, through a permit office. People, if it's a gated system, they have to go to a permit office and do their application, the verification from their employer, and obviously get their tag from there. But now we're talking about, how do you do this online? How do you make this more efficient? How do you do with less administration? For us at Precise, we have a system called iPass. It's been functional for the last 10 years, very prominent in the hospital, but really if the engineers have taken it to another level. iPass now can be integrated with a lot of APIs, with all your readers, with all your systems. So it makes that seamless integration between getting to the parking garage, accessing iPass online, and really reducing the amount of administration it takes to get there. And part of that iPass, that permit system, that online portal, is having the back end, the infrastructure available for your needs. And just to reap some of the benefits from these sort of flexible permit software is you're having statistical financial reporting on the backside. You're able to bill accounts and look at the receivables, who owes you money, who doesn't, which stakeholders do and which don't. You're able to incorporate live inventory and parking lot setup, so you're not left blinded when you're issuing permits of who gets what and at what capacity. Obviously, there's a lot of rates and fees management involved with iPass. So different rates, different systems. How do you incorporate that? How does that manage online? Daily active subscriber reconciliation. How important is this? When you have this many X amount of parkers or employees that are paying for parking, are you sure you have that amount that are getting through the gate? Are there some that are not paying or they're curbing abuse? So really that reconciliation is so important, how to track revenues, but also enhance the revenues. And of course, schedule reporting generation through via email. And really what's become very popular, especially on the commercial side of parking, is flexible permit models. So pay as you go, return to work schedules. Now, it might not be as prominent in the airport infrastructure, but your admin team, are they working from home 2 days a week or once a month? Are they coming in? Regardless of their work schedules, do you have a flexible permit model that accommodates that need? And again, we touch upon about the financial flexibility of iPass and permit management. It's again, determine your billing cycles with flexibility. You have a really purview of who's billed and what time. And then obviously how you regulate in monthly cash flow, because it is a very substantial part of the overall revenue of any airport. And again, as I touched upon, you're managing a variety of permit types, not just your traditional Monday to Sunday, 24/7. Now we're talking about work schedules that are reflective with your passing. So once a month, 3 times a week, regardless of that. And very important, of course, is subscriber integrity, protecting your data, whether it's level 1 processing because you're paying through your automatic renewals on your debit or your credit card. Your own information is very important, your data information privacy, and of course, the auditing and security. You really have to have that back end to make sure that your infrastructure is fully capable to sustain any threats, any malware, any viruses. This is key to keeping that security.
Thank you for that, Adamo. That was very informative. It is great to see how airport authorities and parking operators can successfully manage their parking with technology that will in turn increase recurring revenues. I'm happy to hand it off to Andrew to highlight various intuitive solutions that fuel parking management.
Thank you, Cassandra and Adamo. So in regards to technology, it's extremely important to leverage digital operations of the facilities that you manage and maintain and the type of equipment that you have. Deploying central monitoring and customer services of utmost quality and accuracy is extremely important for any facility that is being operated. Live central monitoring, it means less downtimes, increased revenues, having immediate detection of issues that are occurring on site, staff smart evaluation of what they're actually looking at, not just looking at pictures and images of the sites themselves, but being able to respond accordingly to the different severities of issues that occur. With that, efficient responses occur and more profitable operations, absolutely. The live central monitoring highlights, of course, having a system that's 24/7, 365 days a year. Two-way audio and video is extremely important, being able, live agent to discuss and deal with customers, whether it's a question on how the system is operating or, just instructions and providing assistance on where things are located at that facility. A multilingual response, extremely important as well, depending on the part of the country that you're in. And again, for federal agencies, multilingual is extremely important and needed. Protocols and procedures, having a protocol, every site is different and facilities want us to deal differently with each site accordingly. So having that protocol in place to be able to deal with what the needs are at that site, knowing how to deal with customer complaints, different types of access cards and so forth that are being utilized at the site. Service and coverage flexibility, absolutely. Having a monitoring station that be able to cover, not have 4 people only at a site, having a whole team there dealing with what needs to be done and being able to grow with the amount of facilities that it's being managed on, and being able to keep that level of efficiency and customer service very high. So in this aspect, in regards to technology, what can be implemented is a mobile scan. Mobile scan just gives the ability to reduce the infrastructure costs on site. Having a barcode or a smart poster installed with a QR code that would link you directly to a customer service agent is extremely valuable at a lot of facilities. Having a sign, again, even with a phone number, if someone didn't have a smartphone on them, this is a great solution to bring it to a forefront with popular questions that are being asked at that parking facility, but also connect them to a live agent as well. These are just some images of monitoring stations and the vastness of what needs to be seen and how to be dealt with. Deploying solutions intelligent enough to manage parking. So there's multiple solutions that can be implemented depending on the facility that you have. Gated systems, parking guidance systems, electrical vehicle charging systems, multi-space meters, and license plate recognition. These are a few of the items of the different technologies that can be installed at any of the facilities. Innovative technology integrations. It's extremely important in this day and age. It improves revenues and cost efficiencies. absolutely at any of the facilities that could be installed. This is the way forward to improve what we need to do to improve the revenue streams at each of your facilities. So smart access control. This is the way of the future. This is the way that we can decrease, hardware installations and lower costs at a lot of the facilities. It's the forefront of all of our new installations. It allows prepayment or payment points without the increase of adding pay stations or meters and so forth. Also, the Bluetooth low energy readers, having an application installed on your phone that you can access a lot, that you can access a lot for monthly purposes. You can access a lot for reservations and so forth. And it's a lot more secure than having it on an access card, let's say. The reason being is, you're never going to share your phone with somebody. You have the app on your phone. There's a lot more control and a lot more security and a lot more ability to add different facilities if needed, and being able to control your parkers. If someone loses a tag, you only have to, or they lose their phone, you only have to deactivate the application and then reinstall it on another phone or another form of media. App-free mobile scan and pay. This is a very exciting product line. This allows you to be able to control your parking experience in any facility you have, reduces touch points tremendously because your cell phone literally becomes the pay machine itself. So scanning a barcode when you want to leave the facility, inputting or scanning the payment, you input the payment at a non-gated facility, but at a gated facility, before you leave the garage itself, you scan the barcode, you make your payment online, and then you either insert or you scan your ticket at the exit column. Extremely important technology now, which is going to change the face of parking as we see it. EMV, I'm sure everyone has heard of EMV in technology. It actually stands for Eurocard, MasterCard, Visa. I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of that or not, but it's extremely important. All merchants are asking to have your parking systems incorporate this type of technology. This allows tap and go credit, tap and go debit, mobile wallets, and chip and pin. Very high secure technology that allows any form of contactless and digital payments on your parking system. At the forefront right now is accessibility design in especially federal agencies and a lot of agencies that require any form of kiosk to be installed on site to follow the CSA standards. These are two of the standards that are on them: the accessible design for built environment and accessible design for self-service interactive devices. There's a lot put into the technology. We'll be talking about that on the next couple of pages on what needs to be done. Now, these are highlighted items. There's an actual code based on what needs to be done, but a couple of the items are the display screens, having full touch scroll bar, adjustable screen, glare free, so forth. Transactions, having that cashless tap and go EMV technology on the devices itself. Also to the point of hand wave interactions, not having to press a button on a device at the entry point or on a pay station or on a parking meter themselves, automatically waving your hand in front of it and not having those touch points, which extremely helps during the COVID-19 period. Software additions, assisted listening system, sorry, apologize. This is extremely important for the built-in environment for individuals who have hard hearing issues. Virtual customer assistance, as I mentioned before, in regards to the monitoring station, having the ability for someone to speak to individuals in real time. And self-serve options as the mobile payment on your phone. Your phone are fully accessible devices already. So that's why scan and pay and mobile payment are extremely valuable and important solutions. Prompt and visible signage. Having Braille, raised, tactile, and high contrast legible font sizes that are based on the actual accessible code in CSA, extremely important and need to be adhered to be able to have your devices fall into this category. Automatic license plate recognition is an extremely important technology, and it helps in all facets of the industry. Enforcement accuracy, absolutely. Being able to scan people's license plates and scanning them, and will 100% improve the accuracy there. Enhanced security. Again, your license plate, you're not sharing an access card, so your license plate can be your credential to enter and exit the facility. It's a frictionless parking access, so you're not having to roll down your window, open up your car, search for an access card. You're literally driving to the lane and you're entering and exiting the facility. Works extremely well with hands-free permits because your license plate is now become your media source. Constantly in business intelligence, Damo touched on this a little bit. All that information is communicated back to a business intelligence tool that tracks the data of people who they come in, how long they've been into the facility, and the information is endless there. Dynamic pricing can very easily be integrated into a solution with license plate recognition. Marketing and loyalty, because we have a trackability of who's entering and exiting the facilities. And a last mile integration, bringing you to the solution that needs to be implemented at your facility. Here's an image of license plate enforcement that's on a vehicle. So you can actually have it multiple ways. It could be enforcement by camera, cameras that are equipped on vehicles that drive down aisles and scan the license plates accordingly. Works extremely well in large facilities or managing multi-facilities that you have. You can tire chalk with this as well, so you can actually mark vehicles and then come back at a later time and know exactly that individual hasn't paid for their parking through this type of technology. You also can do this by foot. The license plate integration is developed within your mobile application for the enforcement tool, and patrollers can walk around and actually scan license plates that way as well. It increases enforcement accuracy. License plate based enforcement lets technology do the heavy lifting, and it's true. It can come to a point that we record all this information and vehicle image to violations. So in a situation that someone forgets or loses their tickets, there's no questions asked now. We have the ability to recreate those tickets accordingly through this. And it keeps everyone honest at your facility as well, because there's always that proof in regards to individuals stating that they didn't come and park at a facility. We have image proof of it. We also can do special rules according to the permits, depending a certain individual has a license plate that you incorporate as a VIP or accessible person that needs assistance. We can treat the system and have the system operate based on what your needs are. Frictionless access with automatic license plate recognition. Exactly what I said there. It has the ability to enter and exit facilities without even taking tickets. Your license plate can become your ticket at your site, but it also works at gated lots, non-gated lots as well. That you can actually tag cars as they're entering the facilities and then send alerts to your enforcement teams that this individual has parked in the facility for more than 15 minutes and they haven't made a payment. So it assists enforcement tremendously to go and actually invoice that vehicle and improves the amount of honesty and financial acceptability at the facility. Find My Car Assistance is a really amazing product. Again, more based on larger scale facilities, but it can be even for a smaller scale as well. It's a solution that's developed and integrated within a parking guidance system. And there's license plate recognition cameras incorporated into these sensors. This device and this system can tell you exactly where you're parked. So if you forget where you parked at a facility, you can input your license plate into one of the parking kiosks or a standalone kiosk, and it will tell you on a map where you are. Parking guidance in itself improves traffic flow by a minimum of 37%. Just points people in the right direction on where to park. Seeing that red and green light accordingly, it helps tremendously. And also dynamic pricing, having a system that can be integrated within your parking solution, that you can know that if someone parks on a roof, you want to maybe give them a discounted rate, or if they park in a VIP section and it's signed accordingly, when it reads your license plate, it ties the information to your ticket number and therefore can point it to a different rate structure itself. Dynamic pricing opportunities. Because of all this technology that's being implemented and the data that we're retaining from it, we know the time of day, date, time of year, customer types that are coming to your facilities, and approximately where they're parking their cars. And we can make decisions based on how do we change our rate structures to optimize the amount of revenue that we have at your facility. Business intelligence and data collection. Again, all this technology connects to each other. Having this information at your fingertips and on knowing who enters and exits the facilities, when and how long they park, peak times of day, and high demands of parking areas allows you to make more better decisions at your facility and how to handle the rate structures, the occupancy of your facilities themselves, incorporating loyalty programs. And then again, data, out of province license plates and so forth. Having all this information at your fingertips allows you to make better decisions at your facility and improve your revenue streams, absolutely. What's been coming up to the forefront, especially in the airport sector, is curbside management and monetization. The ability to, what's happening at our curbside? Are people parking out there long periods of time? Are guards or security personnel having to constantly direct traffic out of the areas? Having technology put in place with license plate recognition and people counting systems allows you to make better decisions on how to deal with the issues that are occurring at the pickup and drop off areas. They all connect to each other, and it's extremely valuable information to have. And at this time, I'll pass it on to Adamo.
Thank you, Andrew. It is great to see the various technology integrations that should be on airport authorities and parking operators' radars. I'm happy to hand it off to Adamo to highlight how you can enhance traditional parking management services with contemporary technologies and the questions you should be asking to do so.
Thanks, Cassandra. So yeah, I talked about traditional parking, as Cassandra alluded to, and Andrew did a fantastic job of all the new technology innovations that are in place today. So how does that now correlate with how things are changing on the management side of airports today? So over the years, you've seen maps of this nature. So basically you've heard the words customer journey or customer mapping. Basically, it is basically a customer, the journey between A to Z, and how you can do it convenient, easy, and frictionless. We call this urban mobility intelligence. It wasn't too long ago, unless you're my parents, you used to go to a travel agent a few times to buy your ticket, to get your ticket, and then find your way to the airport 2-3 months later. Now, obviously, everything's done online. You can buy your tickets online, reserve your hotel online, you can get your rental car online. Purchasing your parking, is just a natural evolution to that. So it really starts in that customer journey with searching for parking at your airport facility online. Once you secure that parking, whether it's reservation or pre-recorded, you also have to get to the airport. Now, obviously, there's a lot of transportation platforms out there today. It really is now integrating your airport to these consistent guidance systems today. How to get from home to your location, and not just on your parking location. It could be a variety of different locations, short-term, long-term. Once you get there, now you're in front of a gate, or if it's non-gate, how do you get through this gate? As Andrew alluded to all the different options there, well, now you can use your Bluetooth or your QR code. Whatever you did on the initial search to get you that access point now gets you easily inside the parking facility. Then finally, once you get past that gate, how do you get to your parking stall? Is it pre-reserved? Is it unreserved? If you have the convenience of having, as Andrew alluded to, was the parking guidance system to get you to there, to know when stalls are empty or not. This is the other evolution of that customer journey. And it really is about convenience, connectivity, and really having the choices from A to Z. So this journey, this slide you see here, really is an expansion of that customer journey and really all the different and wonderful integrations you can have right now. On the right side, you see the access points, QR codes, your Bluetooth technology, how to get into the specific gates or have access systems. We talked about the in-car navigation. Now you're talking about digital payments like we do with Parked In. You don't have to use your debit or credit. You can just use your phone to get in and out. Loyalty programs that we talked about before, the BI tool, validations, reservation, as it goes on and on and on. It really is now integrating all these different platforms and that sort of one key element, that one central point. Again, that customer journey from A to Z, easy and convenient. Last mile, Laura mentioned about the drive-through at Pearson. Of course, this is real estate. Parking stalls are a very important real estate in the world today. And everyone's utilizing it, understanding this and utilizing this. So your car's parked at the airport for a day, 2 days, 3 days. What else was a convenience can you do with this car? Well, you can get your car detailed. Obviously, electric charging stations are very prominent now. Vending machines, of course, when the PPE came across, this is a perfect opportunity to pick that up on the hallways leading to the terminals. You've got packages that can be delivered to your car these days. Ghost kitchens, which are very popular. And again, what we alluded to before is the events during times of low occupancy. You've got this valuable piece of real estate. No one's using it for a certain time. What else can you enhance that? And really behind it, what we talked about is really marketing. This has really never been a touch point previously, but really is coming to fruition today. Because really you want to get your parking, especially when you're competing with off-site parking, the Park and Flies of the world and so forth, who really do a good job on the marketing side. We have to capture that revenue. So how do you do that? You got to make sure you get your parking facility and the taglines high on the Google search, what we call SEO. You also have to look at the parking for pre-booking. How do you integrate loyalty programs with your pre-booking and with your platforms? And again, we talked about online advertising. How do you enhance revenues from non-traditional revenues as we did in the past? Marketing, advertising. We talked about the in-car navigation. Again, many platforms out there to get you on Google Maps, Waze. Putting your parking facility at the airport on the map is essential. And there's many ways of doing that today. And finally, today's, congratulations everyone, because today is now, we don't have to use our COVID passport to get into a restaurant. Everything is opening up. So we really see, we've been talking about that silver lining for 2 years, but actually it's here. You're seeing it, people are coming back. So now is probably the most opportune time for yourself and your team to look at your parking facility and understand what is it we need to do to get to the next level. Is it through technology? Is it through further management? Is it enhancing the customer journey? Next slide. So you really do have to ask your question. I'm not going to go through every question here, but some prominent ones are, how's technology being used today for enforcement services, for curb management, for shuttle service to make it more convenient, really on the management side. On the software side, can visitors pay for parking on mobile without downloading an app? Very important. Like what apps are out there? What other payment platforms do you have outside of a credit card and a debit card? And then hardware, maybe this is time to review your gates. Do you need gates or you don't? Is there any contactless access methods do we offer? These are the questions. I know this is going to be circulated to everyone. These are really the questions you should be talking to your team right now, your operator, yourself, consultant. It really is now pushing the boundaries for the next level of parking at airports.
Thank you, Adamo. That was an impactful way to end off today's discussion. Once again, if you enjoyed the webinar, we encourage you to leave us a Google star rating by scanning this QR code for your chance to win our prize draw. The winner will be announced on Precise ParkLink's LinkedIn page within the coming days, so stay tuned. So aside from the questions mentioned previously, there are many questions that come to mind when it comes to creating a profitable parking operation. With that being said, we are now welcoming all of your questions in the chat. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to write theirs in. So we have one question for Andrew. Would a gated system be able to be paired with an existing municipal parking system? In brackets OPS-COMM?
It would be something that we would have to investigate and look at what the APIs are available to us on that, the municipal system themselves. We've integrated into other systems through this means, and I'm confident that it can be done, but it is something that we should have to investigate first.
Okay, we have another question for Andrew. Do Precise ParkLink's pay-on-foot pay stations meet Canadian accessibility guidelines?
Yes, we do. We're installing it at 2 major airports that are utilizing all of the features for the accessible design. We actually discussed this and integrated and had a solution checked off by a third-party company as well to ensure that we meet all the standards. So yes, we are.
Okay, it seems like that's it in terms of the Q&A. So again, thank you to both the speakers and attendees for an insightful discussion on how you can make the ultimate comeback for profitable parking management. We will be following up with an email that you can respond to if any other questions do arise, as well as a recording of today's webinar. And on that note, please save the date for our upcoming BI and Analytics webinar on Wednesday, March 30th at 12 p.m. That's a wrap for today. Thank you again, everyone.